Hello everyone, my name is Yap Ting Ting. Today I'll be presenting a case study for my critical thinking course on whether schooling should be made compulsory until Form 5 in Malaysia. So, why is this a national concern? Education is not only a basic right, but also a key driver for individual and national development. In Malaysia, despite having compulsory primary education, we continue to face serious problems with student absenteeism and school dropouts, particularly around the SPM examination. In early 2025, news report revealed that nearly 10,000 SPM candidates had not confirmed their attendance for the exam. That is a significant number of young people at risk of leaving school without a basic qualification. This situation has pushed the Ministry of Education to consider extending compulsory education to Form 5. In this presentation, I will explore the facts, the arguments, and why I believe this policy is a necessary step forward. Let's begin by mapping the key facts and stakeholders. Under current Malaysian law, compulsory education only covers 6 years of primary school. That means students can legally stop attending school after age of 12. But we know that many students drop out even earlier or become missing before their SPM. Now, who are the key stakeholders? First, the Ministry of Education is the main actor proposing the change. Second, students and their parents will be directly affected by the new legal requirement. Third, school and teachers will need to implement the policy and provide support. And finally, the wider workforce and society stand to gain from a more educated population. Everyone has a stake in this issue. To analyze this policy properly, we can break it down into 3 types of claims: fact, value, and policy. A fact claim is something that can be verified. For example, the current law only mandates primary education, and there is indeed a high rate of absenteeism for the SPM exam. These are facts. A value claim deals with what we believe is good or just. In this case, there is strong belief that education is a fundamental right, not a privilege, and that society has a moral duty to ensure every child receives that education. Finally, a policy claim proposes a specific course of action. Here, the policy claim is to make secondary schooling up to Form 5 compulsory by law. Understanding these 3 layers help us build a solid argument. Now, I come to my main argument. My position is clear. I strongly support the ministry's proposal. This policy is not just idealistic. It is a necessary and progressive step that shifts education from being an aspiration to a guaranteed right. My first reason is to directly address the dropout and absenteeism crisis. The current system allows students to legally exit at age of 12. By extending the legal obligation to age 17, the government creates a binding framework to track, support, and ensure students remain in the system. This is more effective than voluntary program itself. Second, this policy upholds the fundamental right to quality education. A law that guarantees access sends a powerful message. Education is not something to be pursued only when convenient. It is right that the state has a duty to protect. This ensures every child has a foundation for lifelong learning and better opportunity. Third, it strengthens national human capital. A student who completes Form 5 has a much better chance of finding decent work than a dropout. And fourth, some might argue that a law won't solve all poverty or family problems. But I believe the opposite. A legal mandate provides a mechanism to identify students who are falling through the cracks. Once authorities know who is missing, they can deploy targeted support like financial aid, counseling, social services to address the root cause. I recognize that there are opposite views. Let me address two more main counter arguments. The first, making a law won't solve the underlying issues of poverty and family problems. My refutation is that the law is not a solution to poverty by itself, but it creates the framework to identify at-risk children. Once school attendance is mandatory, absences trigger attention, allowing the government step in with the necessary support. It turns an educational issue into an opportunity for broader social intervention. The second counter-argument is this policy will be too costly and logistically difficult to implement. While I acknowledge that implementation requires resources and planning, the cost of inaction is far greater. A large population of youth without basic qualification lead to higher unemployment, lower economic growth, and greater social problem. To conclude, the proposal to make schooling compulsory until Form 5 is both practical and necessary. It built on Malaysia's success in achieving near universal primary education, and it addresses the persistent challenge of secondary school absenteeism and dropouts. I recommend that the government proceed with tabling this policy in Parliament, but with careful attention to implementation. Specifically, I suggest first, phase implementation to allow schools and family to adapt. Second, strengthen support system including financial aid, school counselor, and community outreach programs. Third, collaboration with social agency to ensure that students from disadvantaged background receive the holistic support they need. Fourth, public awareness campaign to communicate the importance of secondary education to parents and communities. If implemented well, the impact of this policy could be significant. For individuals, it means better preparation for further study or the workforce. For society, it helps narrow social inequalities and strengthen human capital. Ultimately, this policy reinforces the principle that education is a right that must be protected. And it moves Malaysia closer to a future where every young person has the opportunity to reach their full potential. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.